Welcome back to the channel. So I'm going to do a little soft reboot of the channel today. So as many of you who have followed me before know, this channel is mostly dedicated to Star Wars Armada and a little bit to Star Wars Legion. I talk a lot more about Armada than I do Star Wars Legion. Well, I'm going to expand on that content a little bit. I'm going to keep it game related, but it's going to diverge from the Star Wars part of gaming. So I've explained in other videos how I feel about Armada. It's my favorite game. It will remain my favorite game, but AMG, Atomic Mass Game, who currently has the license, has put it on hold. Whether they come back and start developing for it again, we'll just have to wait and see. But for the time being, there's not going to be anything new, so that means there's going to be limited content for me to talk about, and I wanted to be able to talk about things. And also because my game store, where I do most of my playing and shopping, I had built up some rewards points or store credit, and I was saving that for future Armada and or Legion purchases. Legion, I only play Rebels. I don't see a lot of new stuff coming up for that. And Armada, I'm pretty happy with what I've got. So no new purchases on either of those games envisioned for some time. So I decided to get into a game that I had been eyeing for several months. It's a game, it just caught my eye one time when I was in there. And it's something that I don't know a lot of friends that play this type of game, but it caught my eye for two reasons. One, it's a World War II historical naval game. It's called Victory at Sea. It's by Warlord Games in their Bolt Action line. This is the rulebook, a separate purchase from the core set. I will talk about this at a later time. The reason why it caught my eye, again, for two reasons. First reason was it's a naval game similar to Star Wars. In Star Wars, much of it is modeled after World War II, you know, ships. The dogfighting is World War II style dogfighting. The Empire is modeled to a large extent after the German Nazis. So because of that, and because George Lucas used a lot of that to bring about Star Wars, I thought I would try this game. So that's one. Two, my favorite cartoon that I would watch after I would get off the bus from school when I was younger was Star Blazers. Whether you're familiar with that or not, it's a it's an anime cartoon, and it features the Yamato, which is the Japanese World War II battleship, the largest battleship ever built. We don't really have much we don't have battleships anymore. They've been supplanted. Their usefulness has been usurped by other things, which maybe we'll get into in the future. But the Yamato was the largest battleship ever built. Was sunk by the U.S. in World War II. But the premise of the cartoon was they raised the Yamato from the bottom of the ocean and refitted it for space flight in order to save Earth. And I can't remember the exact way they did it, but they were able to get it up in space, and it fought, in defense of Earth. And it was one of my favorite cartoons growing up. The Yamato, this box in particular, was the one that caught my eye for the game. And so I thought that I would get into it. So what I'm going to do in the future is I'm going to do some pseudo box openings for the couple of things that I've already purchased, which is the core set, 2 expansions, and the rulebook. I say pseudo unboxings because I've already unboxed everything. I've already put together models. I've already played a couple of just trial games against myself, and we'll get into all of that. But they won't be true unboxings where you'll see everything as it comes out of the box. After we get through those 3 or 4 things, I will get into some true unboxings so you can really see how things come out of the box. I have some reviews. There are 6 factions or navies in Victory at Sea. They have the US, the Japanese, the Germans, the Royal Navy, so Great Britain, the Italians, and the French. Um, I'll give you my opinions on the French side and why they added the French. Basically, I think they wanted 6 factions, 3 from the Allies and 3 from the Axis. I think that's why they did it, and the French is where was the one to go with, even though they didn't see a lot of action during World War II. But again, we'll get into that. I intend to collect just 2 factions to start, the US and the Japanese. The Pacific Theater, Naval Theater interests me a lot more than the Atlantic Theater. So that's the stuff that I'm going to go with first. If you're really interested in the Royal Navy or the German Navy, Italians, French, I will talk about them a little bit when I do the core set unboxing, which will be next. I will get into whether you need to buy the core set. The core set, it's a battle for the Pacific, so it has some U.S. ships and it has some Japanese ships in it. Well, what if you don't want to play either of those factions? What if you want to just play the Royal Navy? Is there a way to do that without buying the core set? And I think there is. There's a couple of things you'll have to do, but I think you can do it, and we'll talk about that when we do the unboxing. And it would save you a little bit of money, and you wouldn't have to buy ships that you might not necessarily need. You'll have to buy a few other things to make it work, but I think you can do it, and I will explain how I think that is. But until I get to that point, thank you very much for watching. I hope a lot of my current subscribers will join me on this journey to explore this new game that I have some interest in. And I hope that I get some new subscribers that are into Victory at Sea and will be able to help me along with my journey through the game and point out mistakes that I make, or add little bits of history in the comments about the ships and things like that. That would be fantastic. But this is for me. Hopefully I'll find some players to play against so I can do some battle reports that's not just me playing against myself. But until that point, I will do that. So thank you very much. Keep on playing Armada and Legion. Join me for Victory at Sea, and have fun.